Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Your Mark on the World show. I'm your host, Devin Thorpe, and our guest today is Zach Hagopian, who is the co-founder and chief operating officer of Accelevents. Zach, welcome to the show. We're thrilled to have you.
Thanks a lot, Devin. Happy to be here.
Now, Accelevents helps nonprofits do fundraising. Tell us how.
Yeah, absolutely. So like you said, we help nonprofits and individual fundraisers raise more money for their cause. So really what we are is a mobile fundraising platform. We focus specifically on silent auctions and raffles or drawings. And really what we do is we enhance these silent auctions or raffles through both text message and online bidding. So really the name of the game is making the bidding process a lot easier, keeping everything very streamlined and engaging for our audience.
Fantastic. Now, is there a way for the app to work with the traditional sign-up sheets, or do you replace those entirely?
So yeah, we replace those entirely, and what we try to do is keep it, like I said, as seamless and easy as possible. So actually, instead of your donors or even a fundraising host needing to download an app, everything we do is web-based. So all you need is really a phone or some type of device that can connect to the internet, and you'll be able to set up your fundraiser if you're a host, but you'll also be able to send out an actual custom link for your fundraiser to your audience and let your donors submit bids either online or using their phones.
That's great. So it sounds like really cool technology, and you and I talked a little bit about your pricing model. It's pretty affordable. Walk us through the budget that someone would need to have at a typical event.
Yeah, exactly. So you really nailed it. Our kind of philosophy is to be able to help our clients and and the nonprofits we work with donate as much as possible. So obviously, as part of that, that means we're trying to charge as little as we can. So we come from a fundraising background as well, and we experience the same things a lot of these fundraising hosts experience in terms of trying to keep costs as low as possible. So our pricing model, rather than taking a percentage of what you raise, we charge a flat fee. So it basically consists of an activation fee to create your account, and that's $99. And then from there, we're charging you $1 per participant in the system. So if somebody comes to your event and they submit a bid, or if they submit 100 bids, we're only going to charge you $1 for that person. So what that works out to be is, really a very, very low portion of what you'll be raising, especially if you use some of our tips on how to kind of increase your audience or your donor pool. Really, the increase in proceeds that you'll see will be much, much larger than the cost of using our service.
Now, there's a way then for a user that signs up with the app and makes a bid. So you go in, you make a bid on the Harley sitting there, and someone else outbids you. How do you know, and what can you do at that point?
Yeah, and so that's part of why our system will help causes raise a bit more money. Is that rather than let's take the example like you said, bidding on a Harley. Typically, you may go to the prize section of an event, or the silent auction section of an event, and go and physically write your bid down on a piece of paper. So what that means is you're going to have to be going back and forth during the course of the event to see if somebody has outbid you. Now with our system, whether you are at the event or if you're not at the physical fundraising event, if you submit a bid and then somebody outbids you, you'll be receiving an instant notification both via email and text message. So you're really going to know immediately. What we see here is this will keep your audience engaged. It'll increase the frequency of bidding, and you won't have any issues with people not being current on the prizes that they're the top bidder for.
And that is where the increase in donations comes from, really, that extra margin of competition that can last through the dinner at the gala or through the presentation at lunch, whatever it is, so that people are continuing to bid when they might otherwise, in a traditional silent auction format, have stopped bidding, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So that's a big part of it. In that, like you said, someone can, come in at the beginning of the event, see all of your great silent auction or raffle items, participate in that raffle or silent auction. But it doesn't end there. So if they go, onto the dance floor or down and sit down for dinner, they're going to be able to participate without having to get back and forth multiple times during the event. So exactly, they're bidding more, and they're bidding more frequently.
Fantastic. Now, this is really an exciting tool, and it gives you a great perspective on, I think, the whole nonprofit fundraising arena. So you shared with us a couple of, 3 great tips for better fundraising for nonprofits. The first was to use technology. What are some of the examples of technology, perhaps besides your own, that people can be using to optimize their fundraising?
Sure. Yeah, and I'll keep it pretty general when I discuss technology. But really, one of the biggest things, and I'm sure you kind of are getting the idea from hearing me speak here, is using the internet or online tools. So, kind of in this, where we are now. In general, with society, people are using the internet for almost every type of function. So what we're seeing is, sometimes fundraising or nonprofits are a little behind there. So there are great tools available for nonprofits or even individual fundraisers to use the internet and use online tools to help with their fundraising. So obviously, we're one of those tools, but we fall in, a small niche of silent auctions and raffles. But just to give some great examples, there are, general fundraising pages. You can create your own online fundraising page where, you can create some great graphics and put imagery and really communicate your cause at a very personal level. And then instead of just sending that or telling, your close circle of friends and family, you can share that on social media. You can put that in an email to your greater network. And now you're really attracting the interest and hopefully donations of a much larger network. So those online fundraising pages are amazing tools. I think now one other focus a bit on the nonprofit space specifically are donor management tools. So obviously keeping your donors engaged or identifying and segmenting your key donors or your most frequent donors is extremely important in as you engage and attract proceeds and donations throughout the year. So there are a ton of amazing donor management, basically CRM tools for a nonprofit that are becoming just extremely easy to use and intuitive, obviously being mostly online or internet based.
Fantastic. Now, your second tip was to reduce barriers. What are you talking about when you say reduce barriers?
Yep. So this actually relates to kind of the first tip I had. So by reducing barriers, we mean if you are a fundraising host or a nonprofit, making it as easy as possible or as accessible as possible for your donors to donate. So take the example of a silent auction, like I said before, talking about these physical paper bid sheets, or with a raffle, these physical tickets where you have to write your name down and you don't want to lose your raffle tickets. You might not even be able to buy the tickets or bid if you're not at an event. So right there, that's a physical barrier. But by using the internet technology, you are reducing barriers for your audience to donate. So with the example of Accelevents or some of these online fundraising pages that I just spoke about, you just by creating this page are now reducing barriers and opening your donor network really exponentially. So rather than your potential donor having to clear their schedule and attend your actual physical event, they can simply from their computer click on a link and donate within 5 or 10 seconds.
That's great. Great insights there. I really appreciate that, Zach. Now, your third tip was to create engagement. Why is that so important?
Yeah, so engagement is really kind of the X factor here. So the reason why engagement is important if you're a nonprofit or even a fundraising individual is that engagement is going to help you create positive memories in a relationship with your donors. So creating a relationship like this is important to have long-term donors. Obviously, any donation will be welcome for your cause, but the kind of the holy grail is creating this relationship with your donors so that they come back each year, or even better, they tell other people about your cause, and then you really grow your donor base. So what we try to do specifically is make the fundraising experience as engaging as possible. Now, looking specifically at Accelevents, we think that we are doing a good job making your silent auction or your raffle more engaging, right? We have those outbid notifications. We're keeping it, more fluid, a lot more seamless for your donors and your hosts. But again, there is a lot that fundraising hosts can do to create this really engaging experience. So whether it's having a fundraising event with a great theme or even a great band at your event, doing something unique and special that will create those memories and keep the event and the cause engaging for your audience.
Fantastic. Well, Zach, those are great insights. I want to just tease you or ask you a few personal questions here, if I can. Zach, you're obviously successful, making a big difference in the world, a role model to people. Who do you look up to as a role model?
Yeah, so, speaking of all the fundraising, as I mentioned, I do come kind of from a fundraising background in that my co-founder and I built our company following a fundraiser that we actually organized in Boston to benefit Dana-Farber Cancer Institute. So in terms of who I admire, it's really specifically, I'll say it's the special events team at Dana-Farber. We have a few specific contacts there that are just amazing people. What these guys do is they dedicate their career to building, like I said, these amazing and engaging fundraising events, obviously to benefit an amazing cause, the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute. So for those of you who don't know, Dana-Farber is one of the leading cancer research and treatment facilities in the world. So we work with these people, and this is just an amazing group or a team that, like I said, have dedicated themselves to putting on these events. And the thing is, you would think that, okay, they're running events, that's great. But what they're really doing is so much more than that. They're almost running businesses in the idea of, they're soliciting sponsors, they're finding vendors, they're communicating with the actual hosts of the event. And so this group is someone over the years, we've built a great relationship with them, and we really admire what they do.
Fantastic. Now, I want to ask you why you have tackled this business. I realize there's probably an opportunity to make a living, but you could make a living 1,000 ways, and other ways might even make a better living. I understand that nonprofits need money for a variety of reasons, and it's good and noble to give to them. But I want to understand why you felt personally compelled to do this.
Yeah. And I know I just mentioned it, but it really does go back to this fundraiser that I organized. So again, it started as just, my friend and I wanted to run a fundraiser, give back to the community. We chose Dana-Farber as our kind of our partner cause that we wanted to support. And as we set up our first year, we realized, our attendance went from, we thought 150 or 200 people to 850 people in our first year. And we knew that we kind of had something special. We wanted to donate as much as possible to the cause and really harness this great group that would be supporting us. And as part of this, we were putting together a raffle and silent auction for the event. So as we went through this, we actually, believe it or not, were looking for a provider, some type of text-based solution, and really couldn't find anything that fit our budget. And we were, to be honest, a little shocked that these providers were trying to take a percentage, 10% of what we're trying to donate to a cancer research and treatment facility. So that kind of compelled us. It was really an interesting moment after our event where we talked about it and realized, yes, like you said, great market opportunity, but really there's no one there that's coming from, in our viewpoint, no one coming from the perspective of an actual fundraiser, because if they were, they would know that a lot of these groups simply can't afford to give their way while they're supporting a cause. So that's, what we're in connect and relate to these fundraising hosts and nonprofits that are from really the same spot that we go.
Fantastic. Now, as we think about the show every week, we ask our guests to give us what we call an impact hack, a tip that would help us to do more good in the world. What's yours? Did I lose you, Zach? Seems we may have lost our connection momentarily. Let's see if that comes back here quickly. We'll just give you a minute. But while you're away, Zach, let me just share a couple of helpful bits of information. The Accelevents Twitter handle is at ACCELEVENTS, at Accelevents. And the website for Accelevents is also, as you would expect, at ACCELEVENTS.com or accelevents.com. So that's how you can follow up and learn more about Accelevents and Zach and his business. Zach, are you back?
We're back. I think we may have cut out for a second there.
Yeah, you did. We're glad to have you back. So Zach, we were asking you for your impact hack, your tip that would help us do more good in the world. What do you have for us? Zach,
yes.
Seems like maybe you've cut out on us again. Are you there? Well, Zach, I'm sorry we've lost you, but listen, we really appreciate you taking the time to be with us today. We wish you every success in the great work that you're doing. We want to see your business thrive. We want to see nonprofits thrive and optimize their fundraising at their galas and other activities where they've got the silent auctions. And we appreciate your insights and tips for helping us to do more good. And with that, let me just say thank you again, and let's do some good.